Hello everyone. Welcome back to Jikook Magic. What if a single moment, lasting only a few seconds, could reveal something that words simply can't explain? Today we're going to look at a moment at the airport. One that, on the surface, seems simple. No big dialogue, no dramatic scene, and yet, somehow it makes time feel like it slows down. In the middle of the crowd, between the voices of fans and the line of bodyguards, there are two people moving naturally, without a script, without direction, without retakes. And maybe that's exactly why everything feels so real. One step held back, one movement too quick to be thought through, and one reflex that seems to come not from logic, but from something much deeper. What really happened in that moment? And why do so many people feel like there's something different about it? Watch until the end, because it's these small details that hold the biggest meaning. When we watch that Jikook airport moment, honestly, it's not just another clip scrolling by on the timeline. It's the kind of moment that makes time slow down. The kind that makes people pause, take a deep breath, and suddenly feel like they're watching a scene from a romantic movie. Except this isn't a movie. There's no script, no director calling the shots, no retakes. Just two people in the middle of a noisy crowd, moving naturally, and that's exactly what makes it feel so much more alive. That day, all the members had just returned to Korea after finishing their schedules overseas. The airport was filled with familiar energy. Cameras ready, fans calling their names, and bodyguards guiding every step. From the outside, everything looked routine. Neat walking formations, steady pacing, and the kind of professional composure they've mastered over the years. But as always, the most memorable moments are never planned. In the middle of it all, the members moved according to the flow. They walked together with security, following the designated path. Everything looked in sync except for one person, Jungkook. He didn't immediately follow the group. He stayed where he was, as if he wasn't in a hurry. At first glance, it seemed like a small thing. Maybe he was waiting for a manager. Maybe he forgot something. But if you watch more closely, there's something in the way he pauses. He glances toward the fans, hearing them call out, but his feet don't move, as if he's waiting. Meanwhile, Jimin had already started walking ahead. His steps were light, but there was a small distance between him and the other members. He was near Suga, but not exactly aligned. His rhythm was different, slightly slower, slightly held back, as if, without realizing it, he was leaving space for something, or someone. And that's when everything starts to feel different. On the other side of the door, Jungkook is still inside. The distance between them becomes visible, Jimin in front, Jungkook behind. And yet, strangely, Jimin doesn't fully move ahead. He remains slightly behind the formation, as if holding himself back. Then, in a moment so quick it's almost missed, Jungkook moves. Not just walking, he speeds up, almost like a light jog. His direction is clear. His destination doesn't need guessing. Straight to Jimin. And what makes it even more noticeable, he doesn't stop by other members. He doesn't join randomly. There's no hesitation in his steps. He goes directly to Jimin's side, as if that's where he belonged all along. In the middle of a dense crowd, Jimin was already fairly well protected. Bodyguards surrounded him from every side, front, sides, even behind. But Jungkook's presence next to him feels different. It's not just part of the security system. It feels personal. From another camera angle, you can see that they were actually in the same area from the beginning, just separated by perspective. And right before they fully step out the door, there's a small moment, quick, but hard to ignore. Jimin raises his hand and gently touches Jungkook's head. A simple gesture, light, almost habitual. But Jungkook's reaction comes faster than anyone would expect. In one smooth motion, he shifts Jimin behind him, moving him to a more protected side. There's no roughness, no dramatics. Everything happens so quickly, so naturally, that it feels like pure instinct. And maybe that's exactly what it is. Instinct. Something not thought through, not planned. It just happens because his body already knows what to do. At this point, there are two possible explanations. First, the airport was getting crowded. The space was tightening, And maybe Jungkook simply wanted to make sure Jimin had enough room to move safely. But the second possibility feels deeper. That Jungkook noticed something first. That he sensed subtle changes around them, the movement of people, the direction of the crowd, even the smallest potential risk. And without hesitation, without needing time to think, he chose one thing: to place Jimin in a safer position. After that, everything seems normal again. Bodyguards guide Jimin toward the car, while Jungkook continues walking. To a casual viewer, nothing stands out. But for those paying attention, the moment doesn't really end there. Because even in that situation, they still manage to talk. A small conversation. Simple, but warm. Jimin mentions he couldn't sleep on the plane. Jungkook responds casually, as if it's the most normal thing in the world. Jimin explains he woke up when there were still 9.5 hours left in the flight. He even compliments their appearance that day. And in the middle of that conversation, there's a small detail that feels so real. Jungkook looks like he's about to fall asleep. A strange contrast, but one that makes everything feel more human. On one hand, he looks exhausted, truly exhausted. But on the other hand, he's still there, still listening, still responding, still paying attention to Jimin. When the bodyguards begin guiding Jimin to the left, Jimin says something simple: "Good job." A short sentence, but meaningful. And Jungkook responds by leaning in slightly, as if he doesn't want to miss that small moment. From this one clip alone, one thing becomes very clear. Jungkook's attention toward Jimin isn't something forced. It's not something that appears occasionally. It's consistent, natural, present even in the smallest moments that often go unnoticed. But as we know, airports are never truly calm. The crowd starts moving faster. The noise gets louder. The energy shifts. Some fans begin running, trying to get closer. And right at that moment, it happens again. Without warning, without pause, Jungkook moves. Fast, firm, instinctive. He pulls Jimin behind him, creating distance between Jimin and the increasingly chaotic crowd. His body becomes a barrier, not aggressively, but clearly enough to say one thing without words. His priority, Jimin. What makes this moment so powerful isn't just the action, but how he does it. There's no attempt to look heroic, no dramatics. It just happens, like it's the most natural thing in the world. And for those who've been paying attention for a long time, this isn't the first time. Jungkook has shown reactions like this before, especially in crowded places. There have been moments where he holds Jimin's arm, guiding him through the crowd. Other times, he subtly adjusts Jimin's position to keep him on the safer side. This isn't just physical protection. It's awareness. As if Jungkook has a constant radar when it comes to Jimin, detecting even the smallest changes and responding without a second thought. And maybe that's what makes this moment feel so different. Because things like this usually exist in stories, in imagination, in something that feels too perfect to be real. But this is real. Captured on camera, clearly visible, and felt by millions of people watching. And because of that, the impact feels much deeper. Because in the end, it's not the big moments that leave the strongest impression. Not the stage lights, not the awards, not the grand performances, but the small details. A brief touch, a step adjusted, and a spontaneous reaction that can't be faked. Behind all the global spotlight, behind their status as icons, moments like this reveal something much simpler, but far more meaningful. Connection, an unforced closeness, and an understanding that doesn't always need words. And maybe that's why this moment lingers. Because without long explanations, without any confirmation, we can see it, and we can feel it. And after watching everything, maybe we begin to understand one thing: that it's not the big moments that matter most, but the small, unplanned ones. A brief touch, a step adjusted, and a spontaneous reaction that can't be faked. Behind all the noise of the world, there's something that remains calm, consistent, and real. So what do you think? Is it just a coincidence? Or is there something that's always been there, only now we're truly starting to notice it? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with friends who feel the same way. See you in the next video on Jikook Magic.